Anki Garg. Welcome you all to my channel Inside. Today's video is the explanation of building base of any programming language. This video explains keyword, identifiers, variables, constant, and comments. Each language offers you a platform which you can use to design and develop instructions which help you in your working. We use basic languages or regional languages along with English to communicate our ideas. Similarly, Python is also a high level language which has defined some rules to write instructions by understanding the type of data. To define and work with data, we normally use some reference words and some predefined words offered by Python. So let's get started. Keyword. Keyword in Python refers to a predefined word that Python reserves for working programs that have a specific meaning. You can't use a keyword anywhere else. A keyword is also used by the Python interpreter to recognize the structure of the program. There are many keywords defined by Python. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each language has their own rules. So, keywords are the predefined words given by Python, and they all hold a special meaning in the program. Wherever these words are recognized, that means some kind of operation or some kind of definition or some relation is there. So, we need to understand everything. For example, false as the first word. Now, false refers to a Boolean value. False refers to the Boolean value, which represents something which is not favorable. A non favorable condition is represented by false as a value. If I talk about and, it's a logical operator. As, it is used to create an alias, means something related to the already created thing. Then we have a class. Class as a keyword is used to define a class in Python. Def is used to define a function. Now, class is something which has its own properties and a function associated with it, and the functions works on the properties in the class. So when we define function, the function holds a kind of operation in the program. So def is used to define a function. Del, it is used to delete an object already created to release the memory. Elif, if, else, they are used in conditional statement. So similarly, each keyword has its own meaning in Python and they cannot be used freely in any of the program. We have break and continue as well. Break, for, continue, they are normally used in the case of where we have iterated statement, repetitive statement are constructed using for, and they are managed through continue and break. In and is our identity and membership operator. So you will come to know about everything in the later sessions. After understanding what is a keyword, obviously a keyword cannot be used anywhere freely in the program. They hold a special meaning and they show a special relation. Coming up to next thing, that is identifier. As it says, an identifier means something which can identify anything in the program. How will you approach something? So you need to have the identification point there. Like if someone approaches me, then I have my name as my name is something which represents a person. It can be me, it can be you, it can be anyone. So an identifier is the name given to the entity, like a class has a name, a function has a name, a variable has a name, and so on. What does an identifier do basically? It helps you to differentiate one entity from the other. Let's say in mathematics, normally we say we have two variables or we have three angles in a triangle. So, how do you differentiate three angles in a triangle? By the vertex point. By the vertex point coming there, you identify and differentiate the angles on the basis of that. So each angle name you are writing is an identifier. They are separate. To refer to one angle, you will refer to some vertex point. So these become the identifier in case of specifying the angles of the triangle. To refer to any person, a person has a name to it, and a person has their own property. So a person who is referred is distinct or different from other person being referred. So two person with their name are two separate entities. So name can be given to anyone. Any entity can have its name, and the name is different. What makes two things identifiable in any of the program is the identifier. Each identifier, when defined in Python, follows a set of rules. So first rule says an identifier can be combination of letter which is provided in lowercase, that is small alphabet or capital letters, or digits, or an underscore. That means other than lowercase, uppercase, digit and underscore, no other special character is allowed. No other thing is allowed in a identifier name. Second point, an identifier cannot start with a digit. That means digit is allowed in an identifier name. 0 to 9, we can have a number of digits in the identifier name, but the first first letter cannot be a digit. Like in the example it is provided, one variable is invalid, but variable one is perfectly fine. In fact, v1 variable is also fine, var1 is also fine, but one var is not fine. Keyword cannot be used as identifier. Anything which is private property of Python, they have given the responsibility to some words that if being used in the program, you will perform certain set of action. That cannot be used as keyword. They hold special meaning. So identifier name should be different from keyword. A keyword cannot be used as an identifier. Then, as mentioned in this blog, that underscore can be part of the identifier name. And here we are learning that we cannot use any special symbol other than an underscore. So underscore is part, can be part of an identifier name, but no other special character is allowed in the name of identifier. So if you write var at the rate, it will give a disagreement and raise an error. So error is raised when the language rules are not being followed properly. Identifier, something positive. Identifier can be of any length, but again, the length should be memorable to you. So you can have some letters as fixed and the other can change and variate if you have a bigger program to handle. Examples of identifier. On the left hand side, you are seeing some valid identifiers, and on the right hand side, you are seeing some invalid identifiers. So valid says ABC123, it's valid. ABC underscore DE, it's valid. The underscore can appear in the beginning or in the end or in between. So I have given you two examples here separated by slash. So slash is not part of the identifier name. There are two example underscore ABC and ABC underscore. That means I have provided two examples here. So slash is not combining or part of the identifier name. There are two separate examples. Then ABC. Similarly, you can see ABC, A capital B C, A B capital C, A B C both capital, or A capital B C small. It can be anything. Then looking at this, print, PRINT, print as in P capital or print whole in capital is valid. But on the right hand side, if you see, print all in small holds a special meaning in Python. This print word actually is a name of function which is used to display an output. So this print, all written in small letter, cannot be used as an identifier, but print with P capital or all letters capital or any set of, they should not be all small. That's it. So because print is a reserve word, so that is all valid. And let's see what is invalid. Numbers in the beginning is invalid. Any special character, only underscore is allowed, at the rate not allowed. 1 2 3 all digits not allowed. It should have the combination. Then again, a number should not be the first letter or first digit in the identifier name. For is a reserve word, cannot be used. Print is a reserve word. Then question mark main, question mark again special character, cannot be part of the identifier name. ABC1, This seems to be valid, but there is a space between C and 1. It makes it invalid. Coming to variable. Variable is variable is a named location used to store data in the memory, right? We have so many rooms in the house. There is normally a guest room in everyone's house. So guest come, guest go, guest come, guest go. So that room, when the guest is there, the guest room is a kind of location inside the house which allows the guests to take rest in the room. It is a defined memory location referred as room, but anywhere anyone can go, anyone can come. Similarly, when we create any variable, we give an identifier name for sure, and it stores value. An identifier stores some value. When it stores a value, we say we have created a variable because now we have allocated the memory to the data we are holding. And the identifier name becomes the label on it. So together it calls a variable a named memory location. Variable is a container that holds data which can be changed later throughout programming. Let us recall what we have done previously. In the previous slide, we studied about identifier, right? We studied about identifier. Now, what is an identifier? Basically, we are creating a unique name to uh, uh, use something in the program, to refer something in the program. And when these identifier refers to some data, that data needs to be stored in the memory. So that combination where the data is stored in the memory, it gets a label as an identifier. We say a variable has been created. It becomes a container then. Rules and naming convention for variables and constant. How should we define the variable names? If we say we have already studied how to define and identify, should have capital letter or underscore in the beginning. It can have, and it can be of any length. It should not begin with a digit. These were the rules we followed how to create an entity name. But how to make it more sensible? So we will understand the rules and the naming convention for creating variable and constant. So I'll be guiding about constant in the next slide, but before we'll understand why identifier name should be meaningful. Create a name that makes sense. Suppose vowel makes more sense than V. So keeping V as a name of the variable or an identifier name, I can refer it because presently it's not storing any value. I can refer it as identifier. So vowel makes more sense because vowel describes that it will be holding a value called A, E, I, O, U. If I talk about something called temp, temperature, temperature as in short form T, temp. So temp says that it can be a temporary variable or it can hold temperature. So we can make it more sensible. Temp can be used as a variable which is holding value as a temperature, or temp can be any temporary variable which is we have created for some transaction purpose, right? But if we keep T as the variable name, T as an identifier, that then will it make sense? T refers to what? It is not sensible. Second, use camel case notation to declare a variable. Camel case, it is giving you a kind of suggestion that camel case means the first letter, the beginning letter, make it small. But if you have connecting words, then the second word, the continuation word, keep the first letter as capital. Like if I say total sum, so I will keep total T of total as small and sum S of sum as capital. So I will refer as small in all total and then S capital of sum and UM. So this is how I will create the variable to make it more sensible, like max value. Then max all in small, V of value in capital and ALUE like this. And then Third, use capital letter wherever possible to declare a constant. Now, this is very important. I'll be discussing in the next slide. Never use symbols, special symbols like don't use special character. It is anyways not allowed in the identifier name or variable name. Variable names should have combination of letter in lower and uppercase. That is the exactly both are the rules to define an identifier we have already studied. So again, I'm saying an identifier is the unique name which will represent something in the program. And when it is holding a value, you have allocated memory to the data and given it a unique label and identify, it becomes a variable. Coming to constant. A constant is a variable whose value cannot be changed. Now think something. There are few things, rather there are many things which keeps on changing. That keeps on changing. Like our age, it keeps on changing. Like day and night, it keeps on changing. The weather keeps on changing. The climate keeps on changing. But what is not changing? So anything which is referred to as constant says that it will the value of this variable which is referred being as constant, the value of this variable will not change in the execution throughout execution of the program. Whatever value has been specified, that value will continue for the whole program. The naming convention or the rules for creating a constant is that same that we should not the constant name should not begin with uh, number. It should not have special characters. It can be lowercase or uppercase. But look at the yellow block here. It says use capital letter wherever possible to declare a constant. This is a kind of suggestion, or Python sees it like this. There is nothing like a special way to create something like constant in Python. Rather, it says a variable name, whatever you are taking, use all uppercase letters to make it differentiable. Like in variable name, it suggested that you should have camel case, few small letters and then capital letter and combination of small letter. So camel case it suggested for variable name, and similarly it suggests you that whenever you are creating something constant variable, then use all uppercase letters so that it is clearly identifiable that the value of this variable will not change. Secondly, the name can be a special character along with the uppercase letter. The special character allowed here is underscore. That is underscore. There are different programming high level languages like C++, and then we have Java also. In C++, they provide one of the keyword as const when we are declaring something as constant, and in case of Java we use word as a keyword as static, but there is nothing like that specified in case of Python. So it is suggestible that use all uppercase letter when you are specifying some variable as constant. So I have listed few examples for you like max underscore num, min underscore value, total underscore combination. Like this you can have set of values. The last topic, comments. Comments are what? When you specify, like someone asks you, okay, what is this book all about? So you start giving little description about the book. This is the writer. This is so what you are doing is something you are telling from the book and some additional thing you are giving from your side because you have read the book, you have knowledge about it. Now you are sharing your knowledge with someone. So additional information whatever you are providing which refers to the book, which give more information about the book, is referred to as comment. A comment is the text that doesn't affect the outcome of the code. It is just for the knowledge of the programmer that what the set of code is executing. It is the descriptive information, so it is not executed. It is just for the reading purpose. It is just a piece of text to let someone know what you have done in the program or what is being done in the block of code. So how Python allows you to specify comments? There are two ways of doing it, rather three ways. One is hash symbol. And second is the use of three single quote in the starting, ending with three single quotes, or using of three double quotes in the starting and closing with three double quote. How do we differ between hash and three single quotes or three double quotes? By this thing. The single line comment in the program is specified using hash. So hash is a single line comment. That is why it doesn't have any closing. Hash is just specified in the beginning of the comment, but it does not have any closing. Whereas your double quotes thrice are placed in the beginning and in the end because this is a multi-line comment. Multi-line comment where you can specify more than one line as a descriptive information for the code or the program. So if you have something like this, then we use three double quotes in the starting or three single quotes in the starting, and it is closed in the similar way. We are here in our Google Colab. Before we start working, let me guide you with how to come to Google Colab for practice. Google Colab is one of a wonderful tool provided by Google which allows you to work with Python code in a very friendlier manner. How to open it? On the search engine, any Bing or Google, whatever you are using, just type Google Colab. Collab refers to collaboratory. The time you will click here, that is the first link. Google Colab is the first link. The time you will come here, it will give you an option of new notebook. Nothing is required. You all have Gmail IDs. It just requires the Gmail login. So you keep your login so that your file gets saved in your drive. Whatever notebook you are creating will be saved in your Google Drive only. Your Google will create one of the collab, a folder named with collab in your Google Drive, and then you can locate your file there. So like I have created one of the new notebook here, and let me go to my drive. I will show you the name also. Let me give it a name. I'm giving it temporary, right? Right, temporary. Now let me go to Google Drive. Google Drive can be accessed from your helping codes here from the block here, and then you go to drive, my drive. You can locate this Google notebook. Automatically this folder is created in your drive when you are creating any notebook, so your temporary is here. It will be automatically shown in your drive, so you can locate it. I have created one of the notebook for today's session, that is basics of Python. Now, this notebooks give you a facility wherein you can write code, that is a Python code, or you can give some descriptive text as well, right? So when I am specifying any text, I am can provide some information that I'm writing basics of Python, and we are practicing keywords, right? Keywords, variables, identifiers, so we can write both. So this is how we can provide some descriptive information to the code, like what is the code below it performing. Let's add a comment. We are practicing identifiers first. So this is a single line comment I added. The time I will execute this, the interpreter will ignore this as a comment. This is a comment, this is ignored, and this statement will not be executed in the program. Now, the time I'm testing or creating something, let us first verify is an identifier name. Firstly, what is a valid identifier, and then how can we check that given identifier is not a keyword. So identifier, let's try some valid ABC1 and play. So it will give you an error if this is not valid, right? ABC is not defined because we have not given it, let's say, any value. Let me give it 10. So no error this time. ABC1 is equal to 10. Actually, we have created ABC1 as an identifier which is storing value 10 in the memory. So ABC1 now becomes a variable because it is referring to 10 as a value in the memory, right? Let us try more identifiers. One ABC now holding value 10. Let us see the program will give any error or not. So we have received an error, invalid decimal literal. One is not allowed here. We can add one at any place in the variable name, but not as the first character. Let us test the special characters. Are special characters allowed? ABC at the rate is equal to 4. ABC at the rate equal to 4, right? Again an error, not defined. It is not able to identify it. Let us practice with underscore. No error. So this is how we can define some valid identifier. Now, what is a camel case? ABC sum. This is camel case. If I'm referring something like this, wherein we have all small letters and then the second word, first letter is being placed as capital. This is camel case. Let us practicing making any identifier from the keyword, right? So let me try this. Print, I told you, or for, is, all are word. So collab gives you first the color only. It is providing you the color. The color changes. The variable name, the identifier we have created are white in color. The comment is represented in green color, but is coming in color blue. So we cannot use anything like that. It is first prompting me, but still I will give it a try. Is equal to 10. Let us see what error is coming. Invalid syntax. So syntactical error comes when we don't follow the rules. But can I write is ABC? Is this valid? It is valid. Then underscore is valid or not? Let us check. Is underscore is this valid? This way it is valid. In fact, we can write is. Now when I'm writing is equal to 10, then possibly I'm creating a constant, because I told you earlier that when we are creating a constant, we'll keep all the alphabets or digits or letter, everything in capital. Digits are automatically not to be mentioned for capital, uppercase or lowercase, but I'm talking about letters only. These are few things which we need to keep in mind.